Hello, and thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories near and far. I'm Joke Rogers at Channels Television here in Lagos, and I'm joined by Vincent McCory from the Voice of America in Washington, D.C.
Thanks, I'm Vincent McCory at the Voice of America. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Joke Rogers in Lagos brings you that story.
Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State in southwest Nigeria says the provision of quality infrastructure remains one of the easiest ways to improve the lives of the people. He made this comment during the commissioning of a 12.5-kilometer dualized road in the state capital, Ibadan. Governor Makinde, who was accompanied by his Enugu State counterpart, Peter Mba, also promised to continue to do all that's required to make life easier for the people.
The royalties here present.
Despite the harsh economic realities in the country at the moment, there is a reason to rejoice for residents along Challenge, Oduono-Elewe, Elebu-Akpata, and environs in Ibadan, as this road that has been abandoned for over 8 years has now been done. Governor Makinde, in his address at the event, says it's another promise kept, and he would not relent in efforts to make Oyo State prosperous.
Well, we're here today to commission the dualized 12.5-kilometer challenge Oduono-Elewe, Elebu-Akpata Road. This is our way of ushering in prosperity for our people and ensuring that they enjoy the dividends of democracy.
The governor has more cheering news for your state workers.
When this economic crisis started, we gave wage award to the workers. I gave them for 6 months. We started since October. I wanted that buffer, that time to be able to sort out between the government and the workers what the minimum wage should be. We have not been able to achieve that, and I will announce today also that wage award will be extended by another 6 months.
His counterpart from Enugu State, who was the special guest of honor, describes the project as a bold testament of Governor Makinde's quest to leave a lasting legacy for his people.
For me, this is not just an event to mark the cutting of a ribbon. It is a testament, a bold testament to the governor's quest of leaving lasting legacies to humanity.
The commissioned road will no doubt promote ease of doing business along that corridor as it reduces travel time and serves as an escape from the traffic congestion in adjoining roads. Bukola Oriowo, Channels Television News.
Joining us to discuss infrastructure development in Oyo State is the Commissioner for Public Works and Transportation, Professor Daoud Chongudoyin. Thanks for joining us today on Africa 54.
Thank you. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. So let's get straight into it. Governor Seyi Makinde has inaugurated several projects, majorly roads. Give us a bigger picture of the administration's plans for the infrastructure sector for his second and final term.
Thank you so much. Briefly, when we are in Omisitutu 1.0, His Excellency focused more on connecting the zones, which we have done. We have 7 zones in Oyo State, so we have succeeded in linking all the zones now. So in Omisitutu 1.0, His Excellency has commissioned through the Ministry of Public Works and Transport 144.37 kilometers in Omisitutu 1.0. Now, in Omisitutu 2.0, we started working on 422 kilometers. But right now, we've completed 76.25 kilometers within Oyo State in less than 9 months of Omisitutu 2.0. So our intention is to continue what we promise our people, most especially on the circular roads and the inner roads. The circular road, which is 110 kilometers, we started working on the first phase, which is 32.2 kilometers. That's the southeast end coming from Lagos to Egbeda. And of course, His Excellency has actually directed that we should start on the second phase, which is the 34 kilometers from Egbeda linking Ibadan-Oyo Expressway. So as we are now, we've actually started working on the inner roads. That's about 95.8 kilometers within Ibadan metropolis.
Right, and the governor recently commissioned the 12.5 kilometers challenge Elebu-Akpata Road. I know it's close to the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, one of the most important roads in the country. How does this ease commuting in the area, both for the people in Ibadan and for those, coming in and out of it, with people who don't live normally in Ibadan?
Now, around late 70s, the military government actually demarcated that area as a bypass to Abeokuta when you're coming from Lagos. But it was not done. It was late Governor Akala who actually initiated the road in August 2008. But it was left after unattended to during the late Ajimobi administration. So His Excellency Ejina Shimakinde therefore re-awarded the road for the same contractor, phase 1, which is 6.0 kilometer, and section 2, which is 6.5 kilometer. It has actually improved on the ease of doing business along that axis. And if you go to that place now, we have a number of businesses that have established, new businesses, enterprises along that route. Then the travel time, when you need to cut to Abeokuta from Lagos Express before, you just have to move to Challenge 110. But right now, you don't have to bother yourself going to Challenge 110 to Akpata, going to Abeokuta. That route now, it has reduced the commute time to about 35-40 minutes now. So you don't have to apply the other the route that I've mentioned. So that's ease of doing business around that area. Plus, that job opportunities now has actually emerged for our youth in that area. We have automobile industry that have actually been established now, new ones. We have eateries, we have shopping complex around that area, all because the road has been completed and commissioned.
Right, and I know that, for state governments, infrastructure is usually, top priority for many of them, and there's a lot to do. So what particular routes, major routes, are next in line, especially for regional interconnectivity, speaking of the Southwest and other regions? I know you spoke briefly about it, but could you expand on that?
Yeah, thank you so much. Now, for the regional integration, that's the circular route. We want to link Lagos now to the north, coming from the Tech University end. That's Lagos Express Road. So that's the next one. We are working on the pavement of 32.2 kilometers from the Tech U end to where I call the Egbeda and Express Road. That's the express going to Ife. So we are linking the north to the south. We are actually linking the eastern part to the southwestern part, because that's the area which you can link to Ondo to Benin and so forth. So then the other one which we are focusing on next now is the one linking Oyo State to Ibadan. That's the route of Dagbolu end from Jebugo to Ibadan. So it will take you now, once we completed that road, less than 40 minutes to get to the Ibadan International Airport. By God's grace, within the next few months, the paper will be completed and we'll award that road. So majorly, we are focusing on the integrating Oyo State with some other states. And of course, let me add to say that we are still working on linking Oyo State to Ibadan. That's 37 kilometers from the Iwodo interchange to Odoba. which will link to Osogbo. So those are the three road projects that we are focusing on to link other states to Oyo State and linking the northern part to the southwestern part of Nigeria.
Right. Lastly, and away from road projects, we all do know what's going on in the country. Recently, some people in Ibadan also protested, about the harsh economic environment, the high cost of food. Many state governments are, doing a lot of things to bring succor to their people. What's the state government doing, in the area of transportation, since that's, your key area? Is there anything that's being done to ease transportation costs or any other thing to bring succor to the people in this harsh economic environment?
Yeah, on a monthly basis now, the government of Oyo State, we've actually introduced safer transport system. In other words, for civil servants, for citizens, for residents, we have actually introduced our buses that fly the zonal part of Oyo State. Now, you do not need to bother on commercial vehicles once you are in our own safer buses. The safer bus reduce the cost by almost 50% if you have to go through other means, the other transport systems. So, and this is what His Excellency is focusing on, and reducing the hardship on the road for our elderly people, for students, for civil servants, for residents. Before now, we've limited the transportation system, which we call the pay-center transport system, within Ibadan. But now we've extended it to all the zones in Oyo State. I must commend our administration, because some of our lecturers, actually, if you go down to Lautech now, Ladoka Akezola University, they don't even bother to use their personal vehicle commuting from Ogbomoso to Ibadan anymore. They use the transportation system provided at a reduced cost for our people by His Excellency Engineer Shimakini.
Right, Professor Daud Shongodoyin, thank you for your time today on Africa 54.
Thank you so much. You're welcome.
A Kenyan journalist is running a publication which exclusively reports on issues affecting women. Her publication, Woman Kenya Network, is aimed at helping women to tell their stories in a society that they say downplays their issues. Victoria Munga reports from Nairobi.
Welcome to Her Standards. My name is Quinta Mbori.
Nairobi-based journalist Quinta Mbori was chief sub-editor of a tabloid in a local media house. The 10-year veteran says she found the tabloid style of reporting on women disturbing because women were sexualized and misrepresented.
This bothered me for a very long time, and I even had, discussions here and there. Then I realized I could not fight 7 editors, because more often than not, when we were caught up in an argument over, say, a misrepresentation of women, I would lose.
This is the only program that is all about women and for women.
In 2020, Mbori took action and founded Woman Kenya Network, a website on which reporters file stories exclusively on women.
We ensure that our stories are gender sensitive. We ensure that the stories are gender transformative. It's not just about, looking at balance and looking at, novelty and looking at human interest and looking at, the usual, the 5 W's. No, we go beyond that. We want to look at solutions. We want to look at human aspect. We want to look at impact.
We also used to partner with UN Women to see how, as an organization, we can have sensitization workshops for women in leadership on how they can take advantage of media, be it social media or mainstream media, to profile themselves in politics. In addition, we've held several trainings for journalists, both male and female, for including senior editors, engaging them on the need to be gender sensitive.
Indigenous women have an even harder time getting their stories told, according to a grassroots women-led community organization, Roots Kenya.
Engage this woman where she belongs. They have the content. If it means this person speaks in Luya, engage them in the Luya language in Western Kenya. If this person speaks in Luo, engage them in the Luo dialect where this person belongs. And I'm sure all of them, most of them, will have some content of what they have gone through.
Journalists like Mbori believe that publications like Woman Kenya Network will bring more success stories about women to the public eye. Victoria Amunga, VOA News, Nairobi.
International and local investors have pledged to commit over $13 billion into Nigeria's economy, and this is according to the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Mrs. Doris Uzoka Anite. The minister stated this during a ministerial press briefing organized by the Ministry of Information and National Orientation in Abuja. Our correspondent, Victoria Longjan, reports.
This is the second edition of the ministerial press briefings by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation on the activities of the government.
This government is for the people, and therefore it is important for the people to know what they are doing. Of course, it's not possible to have everyone here, and that is why we have invited distinguished members of the media to come here and report to the entire country and even beyond about what we do here.
The Minister of Trade and Investment reels out plans by the government to reform the investment landscape of the country and announces the efforts to accelerate the nation's economic growth.
We've also received a lot of investment, commitments and pledges from our oil and gas free zone alone. Last week, I hosted some of them who came in and have already committed $10 billion additionally. My ministry is creating the Catalytic Investment Unit. That unit is going to then support further investment drive into the country by establishing the Diaspora Investment Initiative. For Nigerians, the risk of investment is a lot higher. We've engaged with multinational institutions like Afrexim, African Development Bank, BOI, even Murphy, to find a way to de-risk investments coming into the real sector of the economy. We now have the capacity to invest as a government directly into small institutions, small enterprises, to take the first loss of any business, to encourage further investment coming in from whether it's domestic or from foreign investors.
The minister sheds light on reports that some companies are divesting from the country.
I know a lot of us have heard that Shell is leaving. He came to explain to me what they mean by that. I can tell you that they are not leaving. Rather, they are expanding and increasing their investment in Nigeria. They are selling their onshore assets and increasing their investment in gas and in offshore assets.
The minister also announced plans to create a national job center to match available vacancies in industries and businesses with available talent pool. Victoria Longjan for Channels Television News.
Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent Makori in Washington. As industrial mining is expanding in Namibia to meet international demand, small-scale miners whose families have worked the land for generations say they are being displaced. Vitaly Angolo has the story from Namibia.
With an iron chisel and hammer in hand, Richlin Tanises hammers a rock on a hilltop not far from where she lives, in the mountainous settlement of Uis. Tanises is part of an impoverished community largely made up of small-scale miners who for centuries have made a living selling jewels and minerals like tin, copper and crystal. The Ministry of Mines and Energy spokesperson, Eshoshange Hashela, tells VOA the authority has at least 5,000 to 10,000 registered small-scale miners in its database, some of whom are operating outside the laws.
There are still those small-scale miners which are still mining illegally, sometimes simply because they believe they born there. They've been doing that before all these requirements came about. But yes, there are a lot of other unregistered small-scale miners which are mining illegally. And this is a challenge from the regulator point of view.
The thing is, our grandparents were mining already in this area. That's why we are also mining in this area. Because we learn from them. They feed us with the tin. And then we see how our elders were doing. That's why we are following their footsteps.
But we are poor people, my lord. We are poor people. Most of us, after the reopening of this mine currently, we're hoping for the green pastures which have come like a crocodile is wading in the water and the food is coming to them. We feel like we will enjoy the fruits, my lord. But it's not like that. This is the time we are more oppressed.
He says the miners have been displaced by huge corporations such as Australia's Andrada Mining and China's Xingfeng Investments. These large multinational corporations now own the land the indigenous or artisanal miners have been working. Andrada Mining, registered in South Africa with headquarters in the United Kingdom, says there is no artisanal mining activity in the company's current footprint. Andrada spokesperson told VOA. Xingfeng Investments, on the other hand, said the company recognizes the small-scale miners' presence and is willing to work with them. But they have not been approached officially or unofficially by any of the small-scale miners for consent to mine within the boundaries of their mining premises. Authorities admit these indigenous mining areas are now private land. To solve the problem, government officials say they are consulting with the mining giants to allow the small-scale miners access to these areas. Vitalio Angula, VOA News, Windhoek, Namibia.
Beyond Onism is the theme of a group exhibition by artists at the formerly Art World Africa Gallery in Lagos. It features works of art created by some artists who graduated from the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Oyo State. Their work is called Best of Ife at 30.
Over 40 artists who graduated from the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, in Oyo State, have participated in this exhibition called Best of Ife at 30, with the theme Beyond Onism at the Fobali Art World Africa in Lagos.
It was an idea that I came up with, that knowing that 30 years of the Best of Ife is a project that is worth celebrating, because the people that started it, they were visionaries, and after some time they handed over to one person or the other. But I felt after a long time that it has not taken place. The 30th anniversary will be a strategic point to kickstart the Best of Ife all over again.
Coming from this background, talking about Beyond Onism, the exhibition this year is talking about, you do your own art the way you want to do yours.
A rich array of works from paintings, sculptures, and more, which highlight the Yoruba culture, have been showcased in this exhibition.
Even as an artist, I am beyond expression, because it's as if you have 50 artists with 50 different expressions. If almost 50 people can come up with almost 50 different styles.
This exhibition is to celebrate the 30th year anniversary of this initiative, which showcases the best of Ife through art.
Rising sea levels, extreme weather events and rising temperatures are threatening coastal communities in South Africa. VOA Derek Mazarura has the story from Eastern Cape, South Africa.
Coastal communities in South Africa are under threat due to rising sea levels. Hamburg, a tiny town in South Africa's Eastern Cape, is one of the many communities battling climate change.
We see the changes in everything. The sea, the forests, the land.
Our weather here in Hamburg is not so stable. It's getting hotter, it's getting wetter. Even in my garden, I haven't even harvested a lot of fruits and vegetables.
Lower crop yields have residents turning to fishing for food and the illegal harvesting of marine resources.
For a mother to see her kids without food is very painful. So I was forced to poach so that I can put food on the table.
Craig Smith is senior manager of the World Wildlife Fund for Nature South Africa Marine Program, which is working closely with the Hamburg community.
The warming of the waters also means that there is distribution in fish species,
and communities that depend on fish for livelihood, that will impact upon their livelihoods.
Most of people that were depending on selling those the prawns like us and feeding our families, also the restaurants, now they don't have things to sell.
Many people dispute climate change, but hopefully what this event is all about is to prove that climate change is real, as experienced by community members.
The event is a group of 43 artists from Hamburg, mainly women, who are creating art that they hope will raise climate awareness in over 200 coastal communities in South Africa.
What are we going to do? Sitting together as women, putting the needle and stitching and stitching and stitching. We show all those ideas and all those pains.
The organizers hope this project will become one of many playing a role in teaching people about the small things they can do to help slow the pace of warming around the world. Derek Mazara, Voice of America News, Eastern Cape, South Africa.
Well, and that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Channels Television has our last word.
We look forward to bringing you another show next week. To remember, channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Joker Rogers. Thanks for watching and goodbye.